Okay, let's talk about function arithmetic. And arithmetic literally means add, subtract, multiply, or divide. And the idea here is we can take two functions that we already know and create other functions. And so let's take this example. Let's say the two given functions, f of x is going to be 2 minus x, and g of x will be x squared minus 4. So there are two random given functions, and I'll show you how to create 4 new functions, maybe more, using addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So the first function we'll look at is called the f plus g function. So let's understand this. In the given functions, f of x and g of x, the name of the functions are f and g, okay? And the input to those functions in these cases is x. Now for this function, the name of the function is f plus g. So this is the new function we're creating, and it's called f plus g, and we're going to feed it the same input, x. So this is f plus g of x. And the definition of this function is f of x plus g of x. It's not the distributive property. We're not distributing the x through here, okay? So don't get that in your mind. X is the input to this function, and the name of this function is f plus g, and its definition is this. So what this means is we need to find f of x, which is 2 minus x, and we need to add to that g of x, which is x squared minus 4. So when we add these, we can drop the parentheses because there's like an understood 1 out in the front, so we could distribute the 1 to get rid of the parentheses, and we end up with 2 minus x plus x squared minus 4, and we'll combine like terms. X squared, there's only the 1x squared. There's only the negative 1x. You've got positive 2 minus 4, that's negative 2. So this is the f plus g of x function. This is your output of this function when x is the input to the function. Okay? We could similarly look at f minus g of x, and you could guess that's f of x minus g of x, which is 2 minus x minus g of x, x squared minus 4. And now you have the understood 1's again, except over here it's a negative 1, so you have to make sure to distribute your negative. So when you do that, you have a negative x squared, and then we'll look for our x term, which is over here, which is negative x. 1 times negative x is negative x. And then we have a positive 2 from here and a positive 4 from here, so that's positive 6. So this is the f minus g of x function. Alright, and then you could do f times g of x, which you just write as fg of x. Don't confuse this with composition. A lot of people confuse this with composition. When you multiply functions, you just put the letters next to each other like this with no dot in between. Or you could use a dot if you want, just make sure it's not a circle. So fg of x, you take f of x and multiply it by g of x. F of x is 2 minus x, g of x is x squared minus 4, and you multiply these, so you have to multiply every term of the first by every term of the second, so you'll distribute your 2 through, and when you do that, you get 2x squared minus 8, and then you have to distribute your negative x through, and you get negative x cubed plus 4x, and then you just combine like terms and rearrange, so negative x cubed plus 2x squared plus 4x minus 8, and that's fg of x. Finally, we have f over g of x, which is f of x divided by g of x. And now this is a fraction we should try to reduce. On top I'm going to factor out a negative 1, and that leaves me with x minus 2. And on bottom I'll factor x plus 2, x minus 2. And now this fraction reduces by canceling the x minus 2's, and so this function is negative 1 over x plus 2. Now your input could be anything. So for example, if I wanted to know f over g of 2, I would plug 2 in for x here and get negative 1/4. So you can plug numbers into these functions exactly the same way.